I'm a waltzing Matilda. Sing it now. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Okay, I want to hear the blokes by themselves, you know the routine. Next chorus. Make sure the girls go home feeling proud of you, okay? Here we go. Down came the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Up came the troopers, 1, 2,
G'day folks, Christian on the internet. This is Must here. Subscribe to go here on YouTube, Bruzo Dragonius. Though that this video is out after Christmas, and perhaps it will probably end up being the last ever video that will be recorded this year or even filmed this year. I don't know if it would be the first one out on 2027 or it would be the TikTok compilation of this year that would come out. But even though that I just was going to recap about of my adventures like this year and all that kind of stuff. Well, to be quite frank with you, I didn't really do much, and besides going to Aurora, and perhaps you probably would see me at Oz Comic Con if you're over there in Sydney at the time. But there's something that I sort of feel that would be way more overdue, even though it would be just completely old news, but I just sort of feel like that it would need to be addressed and all that. Even though with this topic, there has been two YouTubers that were talking about it, which is Friendly Geordies and Isaac Butterfield. I probably would just get those two videos up there just to see what they would think of this sort of event. But in case that you are living under a rock or something like that, or in case that you don't know or haven't paid attention to the news, is that, well, over in Bondi Beach, which is in eastern Sydney of my state here in New South Wales, Australia, even though that this music isn't helping the case and all that kind of stuff, that's because I don't think it's really in case there has been late news as of late that there has been a really completely absolutely messed up shooting that happened in Bondi just about 3 weeks ago, which is pretty much down, it's just not too far from where I am, the perpetrators of that shooting. And the thing about it is that, well, it's on during a Hanukkah celebration, some sort of Hanukkah festival. So Hanukkah, to those who don't know about it, is actually a Christmas season festival that is celebrated by it's like the Jewish version of Christmas. And it's all to do with the menorah lighting and all that kind of stuff. I'm not Jewish, so that's just basically is. It meant to be some sort of a gathering where basically the menorah meant to symbolize the light emerging from the dark. And to the Jews, Hanukkah was really meant to be a very positive and celebratory thing. It meant to be a celebration of, I don't know the whole story of it. It's like a bit of a Christmas celebration. And then, right on the first day of the Hanukkah celebration, around 6 o'clock at night, or in the afternoon I should say, there had been a shooting, a father and son that apparently are from Pakistan, I believe, and they have some identity, and they have been confirmed by some sort of the Islamic State, or ISIS, I should say. Like, even though that this the whole evidence of them being linked to ISIS there, because apparently from the car that the father and son like drove for that, you know, which is the gunman, had basically immigrants of Pakistani nationality, even though that people had been blaming the Palestinians for it, but they're not even from Palestine. They haven't even been to Palestine. They have been training for these almost absolutely effed up act in the Philippines, like in an ISIS base there. The politicians and the media have been doubting this as an anti-Semitic attack. But the thing about it is that, well, not just Jews that were affected by this thing, not just Jews that are just shot down in this, but there's some other people that were out there in Bondi, even oblivious to the Hanukkah celebration and all that kind of stuff. And the thing about it is that this doesn't really affect the Australian Jews, you know. As a matter of fact, like, I know for sure that from what I believe that that in this country you are more than welcome to practice your own religion, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jew, whether you're Muslim, you know. And I've got nothing against no matter what religion that you do follow and all that kind of stuff. Because of the fact being is that this isn't just a Muslim on Jew attack, you know. This is just more of a terrorist attack from a known terrorist organization or legally prescribed terrorist organization to some people that has nothing to do with what's going on over there in Gaza. But the thing about it is that this whole shooting has nothing to do with Palestine. So, but for the right wingers and that, they just find it as they feel like that this would be like their another October 7th again. That apparently, right, that there's some people that's blaming it all on Anthony Albanese because apparently, actually no, not apparently, because to show that this country had formally recognised Palestine as a state, you know, which I'm really grateful for because as a pro-Palestinian myself, and notice that I'm not pro-Palestine because I hate Jews. Actually, completely opposite, right? People say that to be pro-Palestinian, you are inherently anti-Semitic. But the thing about it is, from what I understand of anti-Semitic, is, well, firstly, it's, from what I understand of, I mean, I used to think anti-Semitic as in hatred of Jews, right? But it's not all that. Because the definition of being anti-Semitic is, yes, to be against Jews or hating Jews. I don't count being absolutely disgusted of Israel for their genocide of the Palestinians as an anti-Semitic, in my belief. Okay? Anti-Semitism does not equal anti-Zionism or anti-Israel. Right? And there's the thing that I possibly do stress. That's what I think, right? And you can just say otherwise, right? You can say that, yes, just because I'm Palestinian, I'm apparently anti-Semitic. But I'm not, because I don't hate Jews. I just hate of what's going on in Gaza. I just hate the conduct of what Israel is doing up in the Middle East and all that kind of stuff. And also, I hate the fact that my own government is still enabling the Palestinians' genocide by Israel. But does that mean that I support Hamas? No, it doesn't. Because the thing about it is that what gets me, the reason why I'm that I'm anti-Zionist is to stop all this killing, you know? Because from what I sort of believe that yes, there have been, and back to the what's going on in that Bondi attack, that, you know, I know for sure that, and apparently of the person that ended this in that attack is a Russian Jewish couple. I don't know. There's, I believe, an Australian, like one of the, I think, I don't know, probably just a white Australian or something like that. I'm not quite sure what race, but I think that he also got involved in interfering in that sort of trying to end the killings and all that kind of stuff, and also the main hero that everyone's been talking about, but he ended up being shot himself, I think in the shoulder, I think, is a Syrian-born refugee that was a fruit shop owner of the local shop that's not too far from the beach in the pavilion, named Ahmed Al Ahmed. I believe that's what his name. And with Ahmed Al Ahmed, right, what he just did, what he ended up doing, that even though that he did receive a shot right in the arm, he ended up like tackling the boy, the young guy, because the dad's dead because he was shot, right? But the son, I can't really put it, I don't know the name, but with the son, he still got the gun. But this guy, Ahmed Al Ahmed, ended up going right behind him, tackled him, wrestled the gun off the son, and then pointed right at him. Which I believe that's absolutely heroic. You know, all I'm just saying that, well, yes, he came from a Muslim dominated a Muslim-oriented country, that is Syria. But the thing about it is that, and I think that he is a Muslim. It took a Muslim to end this sort of messed up situation, and there has been a lot of there's been a death toll of 15 people in that terrorist attack. 15 people. One of which, I mean, I heard that there's been a rabbi that died, which is very sad. And the thing that even am more disgusted about, to be honest, absolutely more disgusted and horrified and even sad about, is this 10-year-old girl that ended up dying. A girl that had migrated from the Ukraine, just from what's been going on in between the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, that with her family ended up migrating here from the Ukraine, and that 10-year-old girl that died, that was like that was even like hiding in it and that ended up being shot at is Matilda. Her name is Matilda. And the reason, and apparently from what I heard of what I heard of why her parents chose the name for her as Matilda is simply because that they appreciated the life here in Australia, that they would end up naming their girl the most Australian name that they could ever think of. So that's why that they named her Matilda. But apparently she died in that shooting. She was one of them that's shot. And due to this incident, from what I have heard, is that, the current Prime Minister that we had, Anthony Albanese, had got a lot of flack from it. Was he there in Bondi at a time when that shooting happened? No, he wasn't. He wasn't there. He's not. He didn't even touch a gun, and he even copped a lot of flack because of it. Which I don't see why. Because even though that did John Howard ended up getting the blame for the Port Arthur massacre when he was a Prime Minister? No. Banning guns, supposedly. Did Tony Abbott ended up getting the blame for the Lynch Shears massacre in Sydney? No. And that was the first ever ISIS attack here in Australia. And as far as I'm aware, just after that, I'm really angry about it. Because it is just simply, the fact being is that people had died to celebrate their religious holiday. And I was just thinking, what would you do if you're in this situation, right? What would you do if there is a Christmas party and there's been a shooting and some person ended up shooting all over the place and all that kind of stuff, and and it just angered me a bit. And even as a pro-Palestine supporter, people would assume that I would be celebrating, yippee, yay, a couple of Jews are dead or whatever. But the thing about it is that I'm not. But yet the blame had gone to people that support Palestine. But the thing about it is that the two absolute sickos, monsters, have just, both of them were, two of the people were there in the Asia watch list, so I don't know why that any of those guys got approved from a gun license, right? They were here in Australia ever since Tony Abbott, or I think John Howard, was Prime Minister. Anthony Albanese was I think an MP, Member of Parliament. This has nothing to do with Palestine. And even Israel had the nerve to accuse people that are pro-Palestine for this attack. Right? Which just, like, Israel is just, I just feel like of many of the pro-Palestine supporters, the anti-Zions or whatever, I'm just here because I'm sick of this BS that was of what's happening in Gaza and West Bank towards the Palestinians, where they ended up fearing for their lives and all that kind of stuff, or dying, or getting shot dead every single day of the past 2 years. There has never been a ceasefire whatsoever. Right? And as is, our government rewards the terrorists. That is Israel. I'm sorry, but this is what I mean, honestly, I just wish that the Palestinians and the Israelis would get along and live in peace with each other. Right? And even talking about this other video of being the Godzilla against genocide, even that I made not too long ago. Honestly, yes, I did say that it takes a Godzilla to put an end to this, of what's going on in the Holy Land. I said that I wanted that it took a Godzilla, hopefully, to end it. But even if it takes me being the Godzilla towards the Israelis to end that genocide once and for all, then hopefully that would put an end to it. You know, that is the reason why that I wanted to make that comic book series of Bruzo -1, where I ended up fighting the Israelis and protecting the Palestinians. Because as far as I'm concerned, that the Palestinians have nothing to do with what happened at Bondi. Even though Benjamin Netanyahu, that monster Benjamin Netanyahu, decided to make it about the Palestinians, but it was never about them. Not one gunman was a Palestinian. They were both Pakistani. Right? Both of them are not even Palestinian. In fact, the Palestinians have a very hard time in getting out of Gaza. It ended up being through so much hell on the ends of, right? And even though that the reason why I put Hinra Jab into this video, and yeah, like I don't know much about Palestinian culture or anything. I know for sure that Aboriginal people in here have a thing against having their dead shown on TV and all that kind of stuff for some reason. Okay, that's why there's a bit of a warning. But you see, of what the reason why I wanted to have Hinra Jab into this story, with me protecting her, is because I wanted to send a message out there that even every single thing of every single innocent person, I believe that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And everything and everyone, unless stated otherwise, deserves to be defended, deserve to have protection, deserve to survive, and have every single thing provided to them just for survival. And that is the reason why that is the reason why that hijab, that I ended up putting hijab, or wanting to end up putting hijab into this series of myself protecting her, because I wanted to bring out the message that innocence needs to be protected. It doesn't matter on the race. It doesn't matter on the religion. It doesn't even matter of the skin color. Everyone has a right to protection. Every innocence needs to be protected, and every single evil needs to be stopped. And that has no exemption of what happened in Bondi and all that kind of stuff. Well, there is innocent people. And about that, because of this, my premier is thinking about banning protests altogether. There's some people out there, I mean, even for one, Chris Means had jeopardised the freedom of speech here in Australia, where it's an arrestable offence to even chant out "globalise the Intifada," even though the Intifada is nothing but an uprising. That all we're just saying is the Palestinians need to live in peace, need to be free, need to be liberated, treated the same, and have the same freaking rights as the Israeli settlers. I am dreaming for a holy land where every single person, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Arab, that you live in a prosperous and self-determined life. Like what we have here in Australia, I want that for the entire world. And to think that people are really upset about the pro-Palestine marches and all that kind of stuff. People just saying that if you support Palestine, you are an anti-Semite. But the thing about it is that I'm not an anti-Semite. I would find it very offensive to be called an anti-Semite. I know for sure that I'm blabbering on, but because not just the Jews are Semites, but also people there are 3 Semitic languages out there. People whose native tongue is Hebrew, Arabic, and Aramaic is considered as Semites. People that live in the Middle East are considered as Semites. And I know for sure that I am blabbering on about it, even though this is a long video, so I'm just going to live through there. So what are your thoughts about the Bondi massacre and that? What are your thoughts? Do you want to add to it and all that kind of stuff? Just and all that kind of stuff. I know this is long. Also, if you do like this video, make sure that you have this thumbs up button and all that kind of stuff. I know this is a bit late. Also, if you wanted to if you want to follow me on social media and all that kind of stuff, if you are able to, there's links to that on the description down below. If you do really like my content so far, make sure you show me, or make sure you support me further by pressing the subscribe button and press that bell icon so you will be the first one to know. If you want to follow me on PSN, my gamer tag is Bruzo Dragonius. Sorry that I just gone for that long and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm just going to end it now. Thank you for watching me blabbering on about that sort of thing. I know it's not a positive way to end this year, but I'm just hoping that next year will be more of a positive thing and all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, but I just had to say what I have to say. Thank you for that. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and for those that is just still standing there and just watching this video. And as always, until next year or whatever, may these guide you all. Bye for now.